Okay, so we are back with the first album page. Just to mention that this album is actually for a friend of mine. Her son is going to turn 18 in a few months, and she wanted to make an album for him to contain all the pictures. And I thought that it would be a great idea to actually start a little bit with the family tree and then continue with the son's picture. She brought me a lot of pictures. Of course, I'm not going to use all of them. It's impossible. And she still has more to bring. It's just that she wanted me to have a choice, which is great. So I thought I would start the album with a family tree, and for that I'm going to use this collection is by DCWV, Die Cuts with a View, and it's called Family Bound. And what I like about this specific collection, paper collection, is the fact that they have um, pages like the about the family. Of course, I'm not going to be able to incorporate all of them, but some of them, and they also have a beautiful family tree that I wanted to show you. And I think this is going to be the first page, first page of the album. Where is the family? Here. This is a beautiful family tree where she can actually write, the names of the close family. So that would be her name and her husband's, and her parents, then parents of the parents, and whatever else she can remember from her own family tree. But right now what I would like to concentrate on is to start with the um, with a few pictures from her wedding engagement, and also a few pictures of her family, and of course of his family. So the pictures that I would like to start with are right here. I have post-it notes on the back so I know what they are. Sometimes when I don't know, I send her quick clips of the pictures and say, hey, can you tell me who is in this picture, etc. So what I would like to do, this picture is from the engagement party, and this picture is actually from their wedding. And what I would like to do is to do like a pop-up, 2 frames. Then when you open the page, these pictures will pop up like this. And to start with that, as you know, when it comes to pop-ups, you always have to have a middle. We're going to put these pictures on the side for the time being. Is to add the flap to the first page. So this is the opening of our first page. I'm going to take a 12 by 12. I'm going to put the first page on the side for a second. So our pages are 11 by 11. So I'm going to cut this page at 11. 11. Okay. By 11 3/4. So we got 11 by 11 3/4. Okay. And this will be the flap to our first base page. I'm gonna take the scoreboard. I'm gonna put it on the 11 3/4 side. So this is the 11 3/4, and I'm going to score it at 3/4 of an inch. The reason why I do this is because this paper is very thick, and I like to have that extra space when I work with very thick papers. So if this was, I don't know, 80-pound paper, I would have scored it at 1/2 inch. But because this is very thick and very good quality paper, it's also a little bit stubborn, so I would like to score it at 3/4 of an inch. The other thing that I would like to do, because when it comes to pop-ups, these papers have to be very well scored, very well burnished, in order to allow the pop-ups to raise nicely, is to double with a little bit of Tyvek. So I have some Tyvek here on the side. So what I'm going to do, so this is like 3/4 of an inch, but I would like to double this score line with Tyvek to pass the score line as well. So since this is 3/4 of an inch, I was thinking to put a piece of Tyvek of 1 inch on this side. So I'm going to cut a piece of Tyvek at 1 inch. By 11. This is our 1 inch by 11. And I've just realized, because this comes from an envelope, this piece here, we don't want that, so I'm going to put it the other way. By 11 and cut. Tyvek is a very good material because what I would describe best is like paper combined with plastic, and it doesn't break. Let me show you that piece that I just threw out. See, this is a piece of Tyvek that we just cut, and look, no matter what I do, Tyvek doesn't break. Okay, maybe it does a little bit, but see, it takes a long time to break this, and because it's a small piece, maybe it was easier to break it, but believe me, Tyvek, it's impossible to destroy. I mean, not impossible, but very difficult to destroy. So because this will be a flat that will be turned and turned, and we're gonna have a pop-up inside, it's better to cover it a little bit with Tyvek. Also, Tyvek is very tough to paint. I'm not sure whether or not this is going to work. I'm just using black Ranger Distress ink. See if it's going to work to do the ends here. It looks like it works, but I'm not sure whether or not it's going to dry on nicely, or if it's going to stay, but we can try. What do we have to lose, right? This is how we discover or learn things. As we do it, we try things, and if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, fine again. There is always a solution. There is always a way to do things, or we change. It's a change in plans. Put this on the side for a second. I'm going to take my 1 inch tape, double-sided tape, and now I wish I did it just a little bit wider, but it's okay. Tyvek is finicky because it's thin, so it has a tendency to curl and have a mind of its own. It's not very easy to control. Okay. And we have a little bit of glue left here where you see a little bit of white, so I am going to cut that part. And let's hope that sorry if you're gonna, my head is going to be on the way a little bit. You know what, I think I'm better off using a ruler on this thing. Oh, and the ruler is the wrong way. This is Martha Stewart, very old rulers. They don't even make this anymore. But one side it's kind of sticky, so that ruler it sits on properly once it's on your paper or on your mat. It's actually a seamstress ruler, but it works perfect in paper crafting. Okay, got rid of that piece. Put my ruler back. I like to stay as organized as I can. It's not easy because once you start on a project, everything else becomes a mess. So I need to, because I cut at the side, I need to apply some of this again. Okay, so I'm going to take, this is the part, the score part. I'm going to apply this here like this, and because like I said, Tyvek, it's very finicky, I'm going to work little by little. So first I'm going to apply at this end, so it's going to be on all the way to the edge of the paper here. Okay, it's okay if it covers the scored side, we can rescore it. Okay, and now I also want to add it at the other end so that we have it nice and straight. Okay, so now little by little I'm gonna pull out and I'm gonna try and glue, because see, it keeps moving. Okay, be careful because it can buckle on you because it's very thin. So like I said, it has a mind of its own. Press it nicely, and now I can burnish it. This one. Okay, I'm gonna bring the scoreboard back in so I can rescore my line. So 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and now we are going to burnish this very well. Very well. We are going to burnish on both sides. So this will prevent your paper from cracking due to long use. I have a little bit hanging over here and I don't like that. Okay. And now we are ready to glue this. I mean, almost ready, because we also have to attach it to our base paper. I'm not gonna make sure that your openings are on the sides. I'm not gonna put it inside here because this will be the part that goes um, into the binding system, and we don't want this part to be too bulky, so I'm going to glue it on top of the base paper. So right now I'm just going to see if it looks fine, and it looks fine. Okay, everything looks perfect, so I'm just gonna apply double-sided tape on the bent side, and because I have black on black, gonna put this here so I see what is the edge of my okay. I'm going to use, this is 3/8 if I'm not mistaken. Oh great, okay. That's one side, and okay. So now we are going to almost ready to glue it down on our base page. Let me remove the glue, the double-sided paper. No, first we need to remove the one that it's underneath. Okay, and now we can glue down the one that was on the top. Okay, and now let's take the base page. So remember, you have to have the openings on the sides. Put this down and glue this on the left hand side on top, so not inside here but on top. Okay, okay, now it's time to burnish very well. Close it and burnish. Where is my this one? Okay, perfect. The other thing when it comes to pop-ups, when you use pop-ups, you actually have to mat first, because once you touch a pop-up, it's going to be very difficult to mat around it. But at this point, I think we can do the frames first. And I see a little bit of an overhang here, and that bothers me. So I'm going to use the knife to remove it. Sorry if my head is in the camera. Be very careful not to cut on your papers. Only the overhang. Doesn't really want to because it's very stubborn. Okay, I think I'm going to just use some. Alright, to sort it out. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the side for the time being, and let's concentrate on the frame. So like I said before, I would like to make a pop-up frame that actually where I'll be able to put in these two pictures. So when I open the page, these two pictures will come up and they will be right here. So I'm going to put this on the side, and we are going to work on the frames first. So to do that, we'll need to do a little bit of calculations, and the reason why I'm showing you these calculations is because if your pictures have different sizes, you can use the same method to create the frames, the pop-up frames for your pictures. So let's take a piece of paper and let's write down. So I'm going to measure the first picture, this one, and this one is 5 inch by 3 1/8. So my frame is going to be 1/8 of an inch bigger in this case. So where is my pencil? And for an easy representation, I'm going to make a rectangle, and I'm going to write on it the dimensions exactly, not of the picture, but 1/8 more. So I said that this picture is 5 inch, so it's going to be 5 1/8. Okay, and then this it's 3 3/8, which becomes 3 1/2. So this becomes 3 1/2. Okay, so this is a small representation of our picture plus the 1/8. So this is 5 1/8, and this is 3 1/2. Okay, let's measure the other picture. This one is 3 7/8, so it will become 4 by 6, so it will become 6 1/8. So let's make a rectangle as well. So we got here, just double checking, 3 7/8 plus 1/8, it becomes 4 inches, and this is 6 inches, the picture, plus 1/8, it's 6 1/8. So we need to determine, because these pictures will be connected, we need to determine the length and the width of the paper we are going to cut. Okay, so to do that, we are going to write okay, so first the length would mean from where this picture starts to where this picture would end, right? So length, what's wrong with me, eraser, not 4 but length. So the length, it will be 5 1/8 plus 4, right? And give me 1 second, is it just want to make sure that this is indeed 3 7/8, or yeah, it's 3 7/8. Okay, I like to measure twice so I don't regret it. Okay, so we got 5 1/8 plus 4, right? Plus, and I want to give myself an extra a 1/4 of an inch, plus 1/4 of an inch. Okay, for the height, because this will be like this, okay, for the height will be determined by the tallest picture. Okay, so for the height we have okay, what we need to also take into consideration here is the fact we are going to need 2 1/2 of an inches here and 2 1/2 of an inches here. Okay, so the height is going to be 1/2 of an inch multiplied by 4. Okay, so because we have 1 2 3 4, right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, because we need that half an inch, 2 half an inch spaces at the top and the bottom, okay, plus 6 and 1/8, and that whatever equals, and for that I have my phone to help me calculate. So let's see. So we have 5 and 1/8 plus 4 plus a quarter, and that equals 9 and 3/8. 9 and 3/8. Okay, so let's double check, make sure we didn't do anything incorrect. 5 and 1/8 plus 4 plus a quarter of an inch, 9 and 3/8. For the bottom size we have half an inch multiplied by 4, which should be 3 inches, plus 6 and 1/8 equals 8 and 1/8. So the piece of paper we need to cut will be 9 and 3/8 by 8 and 1/8. Okay, so once again what we did, we measured our pictures and we gave an extra 1/8 of an inch for both sides. So this picture measured 3 and 3/8 by 5 inch, so that means that in my measurements I gave an extra 1/8 of an inch, so this becomes 3.5 by 5 and 1/8, and this picture measures 3 and 7/8 by 6, so this becomes, with an extra 1/8 of an inch, this becomes 4 and 6 and 1/8. So in order to determine the length and the height or of the piece of paper I will need to cut, so for the length I took this plus an extra quarter of an inch for space, so it becomes 5 and 1/8 plus 4 plus the extra quarter of an inch. For the height, you measure the height of the tallest picture, so in this case becomes 6 and 1/8, and I also want 1 inch on each side of half an inch each, so half an inch, 6 and 1/8, half an inch. So I have half an inch times 4 plus 6 and 1/8, and that equals this. So the piece of paper we need to cut is 9 and 3/8 by 8 and 1/8. So let's do that. So in this way, I'm going to put the pictures aside. In this way you can create this frame for the size of your pictures. Okay. So we said we needed 8 and 1/8. So let's cut 8 and 1/8. 8 and 1/8. Okay. By 9 and 3/8. 9 and 3. 9, 1, 2, 3/8. Okay. Now what I would like to do as well is, because this will be pop-ups, I want to back it up with Tyvek, so I'm going to cut a piece of Tyvek exactly the same measurements. So let's see if I have 8 and 3/8 here. Yes, I do. Great. So I'm going to cut 9 and 3/8. Okay, 9 and 3/8. 1, 2, 3, 3/8. By 8 and 1/8. Eight and 1/8. Perfect. So we are going to glue these pieces together, the Tyvek and our piece of paper, and for that I'm going to actually apply glue on the entire back of the Tyvek. Although I do have like the 5-inch big roll, I like to use when I have I normally like to use like 1-inch wide and cover the entire. I don't know why, don't ask me why. I know it takes longer, but somehow I like it better. Plus the other roll is very expensive usually, and I really like to use it only when there is indeed no other choice but to use that one. Please don't mind my doggy upstairs, Miss Sasha. This step is optional. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to cover the pop-up pieces with Tyvek. Okay, and I have a tiny little piece here. I think I'm gonna just put 1/8 of an inch tape. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to burnish it so it glues down properly. I'm going to do the sides quickly. I bought a black Tyvek from Staples. I just bought a package of black Tyvek envelopes. I didn't know that the back side was white, but it's okay, I can live with that. So we are going to glue this together. Now, like I said, Tyvek it's a pain in the butt because it has a mind of its own. So again, we'll have to apply this piece little by little. So I'm going to uncover a little bit of Tyvek, a little bit of glue. I'm going to uncover and try and match as much as I can the other piece. The easiest way would have been to actually glue this piece directly on a bigger piece of Tyvek and then, you know, just cut around. Okay. I don't know why she's barking. I'm so sorry, guys. She must have heard something in the corridor. She really loves to prove that she's a watchdog. Okay, very easy and very slowly. Very good. Now I'm going to pull on this to expose more of the glue. and try and do the sides first and then the middle. I will have spared you of this, but by the same token I want to show you how to glue Tyvek down on another piece of paper, and even then it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, because right now to me it feels like it's shifting a little bit. This you can get rid of, it's not gonna have such a big impact. I'm keeping like this so I can pull on this so it doesn't glue to the paper before I'm ready to glue down. So the sides, make sure it doesn't bubble up in the middle. Okay, pull more on them. Go with the sides. We are almost there. Okay, and Tyvek is down, nice and flat, no air bubbles. Perfect match. Just for my own peace of mind, I want to give it a little bit more of inking on the sides, because this being like a plasticky material, it's not maybe I should put some glue there. The inking may not really hold, and here, because this was a seam on the envelope, I'm going to add a little bit of double-sided tape and then just glue it down. Okay, perfect. Okay, and now we are ready to work on the frame. The mess has already started happening. I'm going to bring in the board, the scoring board. I want this Tyvek to be inside the frame, so therefore I'm going to score Tyvek side up. See, this is our cardstock, Tyvek side up. If you are not using Tyvek, it doesn't matter. You can put a piece of paper, unless there is a side of your paper that you like to have inside of your frames, then put that side of the paper up, side up. Let's take this. So once again, let's look at our measurements. So on the 9 3/8 inch side, so this is 9 3/8 on that side, you are going to score at, wait a second, so it's 5/8, and remember we have this 1/4 of an inch, right? So this 1/4 of an inch basically becomes 1/8 1/8 of an inch on for one picture and 1/8 of an inch for the other picture. So I'm going to score at 5 1/8 plus 1/8 of an inch. It's basically this 1/4 of an inch divided by 2. So 5 1/8 is here, and then plus 1/8 becomes 5 1/4. So I'm going to score at 5 1/4 all the way down. So if I'm going to bring my pictures in at this point, if I'm putting this picture here, if it's fine, you can see with a little bit of and then if we put this picture here, if it's fine as well, with a little bit of a border around it. Okay, so that's our first score line. So in case your picture might have different sizes, remember the first score line, it will be whatever is the first length measurement of your first picture plus an extra 1/8 of an inch, which comes out of this 1/4. Okay, now let me reinforce that. So in my case it's 5/8 plus 1/8, it's 5 1/4. Now I can score as much as I want because I have Tyvek, so I'm not going to be scared that my paper might crack or break. And for pop-ups, it's very important that your score lines are very deep and very firm, because you want the pop-ups to stay flat when you close the pages, right? Okay, the next step is to score. So this, we were on a 9938 side. Now we are going to turn it, okay, on the 8 1/8 side, and we are going to score here 1/2 an inch and 1/2 an inch. So we are creating now this 1/2 an inch size that we are talking about. So 1/2 an inch and 1/2 an inch. So 1/2 an inch and 1 inch basically, and score them very, very deep. Okay, we are going to turn this around now, and now I want to score these lines of 1/2 an inch, but this time only on the side where the picture is going to be. So basically we got this, okay, and then we got this, okay. So I want to score the 2 1/2 an inches only up to where this picture ends. So that means that my 1/2 an inch is going to be on the, let's see what we have here, on the side that for me measures 4 1/8, okay, from the score line. So in order to do so, I'm going to start lightly. I'm not going to score here, I'm just gonna come down lightly and I'll start scoring from where that middle score line. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same 1 inch. I'm not pressing down, I'm just going down on the score line, and now I'm scoring. Before we cut all of this, we'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, next thing I want to score is another 2 1/2 an inch lines, but on where this picture ends, right? So what do we have now? This was 3 1/2, okay. No, wait, sorry guys, I've gotta think this the right way. Okay, so this is, okay, 3 1/2, yes. So we need to score this at I'm gonna turn it like this again, and again we are going to score from here. So we already have 1 inch here, so plus 3 1/2 that would be this picture from here to here, 3.5, like we have here this 3.5, right, which is this 3.5. So 3.5, but we need 3.5 from the last score line of 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to do 3.5 from 1 inch. So 4, again, I'm not pressing there. Okay, I'm just 3.5 plus 1 inch, 4.5. I'm not pressing there, I'm just going down slowly, and I'm just gonna start scoring once I'm past the middle score line. So there was 4.5, then 5, because we are going to make those 1/2 inch lines. This doesn't make sense right now. So 4.5. Was this a... Sorry, that was incorrect there. There was not 4.5. Damn. You know what? I'm gonna turn it this way. 4.5, 5, and 5.5. And I'm pressing really hard. Okay, and the last thing I would like to do is to, where we have the score line in the middle here, I would like to score 1/8 of an inch on each side. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this score line is at 5.25, so I would like to score 1/8 of an inch on each side. 1/8 of an inch. Okay, let's turn it around. Hang on a second, I'm sorry guys, now I am a little bit confused myself. Yes, but right now we are actually going to remove, we are going to cut along the score line. Okay, we are cutting along this score line all the way down to those 1/2 inch score lines. So I'm going to cut from here and I remember that one of them was wrong. Okay, to there. So this is the part where is the first smaller pictures, and where is the other picture now, and this is for the bigger picture, right? So I cut off all the way down, see here, all the way on the score line, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, then the picture, then 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to cut this way on the because I will need 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch on this score line, 1/2 inch score line. Okay, and one score line that I'm going to need to do one more, just like we did here, 1/8 of an inch on this side, I'm going to need here 1/8 of an inch, just where the two 1/2 inch score lines are. So I'm going to put this back here. So I know that this is so all I need is 1/8 of an inch. Okay, it's so tough to see. Okay, yep, that's perfect. We are going to cut along this 1/8 of an inch score lines, and we are going to remove that piece. Okay, same on the other side. Okay. And I'm going to remove this 1/8 of an inch here, and then on this side we have 1/4 of an inch because you have 1/8 on both sides of the 1/8 of an inch on both sides of the middle score line, so that makes it 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so to make it easy and visible, let's see, so I remove this piece from here and this 1/8 of an inch from here, like that. See, 1/4 of an inch from here and 1/8 of an inch from here, and this become the frames for our picture. So we are going to have one picture here, okay, and then we're going to have one picture here. So now I'm going to work these score lines very, very well. So burnish, burnish, burnish on all sides, back and forth, but we really need to burnish this very well. This will be our pop-up frame, so we'll have to be really nice and flat. So I'm burnishing this on both sides. If you are using Tyvek, bend on the Tyvek side first and then against it. The paper will crack a little bit because you are burnishing on both sides, but that's fine because now the Tyvek will actually be there forever. We'll make sure that your frame will never. That's the reason why I wanted to use Tyvek, because this frame is supposed to be very, very flat, and if you're not going to use Tyvek and burnishing is so hard, the paper will crack. Okay, So this picture will fit nicely in here, and this picture will fit nicely here. What we need to do now is to cut the front piece that will create a frame. And to do that, we are going to need one piece of paper at 4 by 6 1/8. Okay, so let's cut that one first. Four. And instead of 6 1/8, I would advise you to actually cut a 1/16 of an inch less, so to be at 6 1/16. And that's because you don't want anything to interfere with these score lines, because when you create the pop-up, this should play back and forth with no problem. So this will sit here, okay, and it will be our frame. Something doesn't make sense. Oh, I see what I did. I forgot to cut the 1/8 on the other side, I think. Let's see. Yes, I forgot to cut 1/8 from this side all the way down. It's okay, we can do that now quickly. I'm so sorry. So this is 4 1/8, and I'm going to cut it all the way down to here. So I'm scoring 1/8 of an inch all the way down to... My God, do we have a mind of our own? Okay. So I'm going to cut this piece as well. I'm very, very sorry. I forgot about this step. Okay. Okay. And actually here it's so white. I want to be able to get in there and put some black ink as much as I can. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is the piece that will sit here. So this piece is 4 by 6 1/16. Okay, and now here we need to cut a piece at 5 1/8 by 3 it's going to be 3.5, but it's actually going to be 1/16 less. So let's do one thing at a time. Okay, so we need what again? 5 1/8. So let's do this at 5 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and once again, what do we need here? This becomes 3.5 here, but 1/16 less. So this is cut 1/16 of an inch before 3.5. Okay. And now we are going to, let's make a little bit of cleaning. It's a mess here now. I'm going to bring in the frame punch board by We Are Memory Makers, and we are going to punch at 1/2 inch. Let's see, 1/2 inch, 1/4, 1/2 inch there. So fix it to be 1/2 inch of this on each side. This 1/4, 1/2 inch. Okay, perfect. Punch it. Punch it. So both frames at 1/2 inch. Gonna bring in the, I don't like to use this, I find this really annoying. I really wish I just made a punch, end of story, because I don't know, I just find it annoying. I like to put my piece in, and I know I punched at 1/2 inch, and I use this part of the guideline. I bring the paper up to 1/2 inch there, and then I use my paper cutter to cut. Of course, cut to make sure you are not going into exactly what you need to cut here, these pieces. Okay. Trying to say don't cut all the way up, because then you are going to cut your frame. All you want to cut is just the middle of the. Okay, that's one down. Don't worry, I'm gonna make it nice. I think I need to change my the blade on my trimmer. So 1/2 inch. Okay. One side. One more side. So this will sit here, okay, and this will sit here. The other thing that I would like to do is to put some transparency before I glue them down, and I forgot to have that available right here, so please give me a second and I'll be right back. Okay, so first I take care of this piece because this is the one that is bigger. So let's see, where do I want to cut? What was this size? 4-inch. So I think I'm going to cut this at 3 7/8. So 3 7/8. So this piece measures 3 7/8 by 5.5. No, actually 5 5/8. And this will be on the bigger frame. Okay, and I'm fine with that. So let me put this on the side, and this will be, so this is 3 3/8. Let's see if I make it 3 inches, how is it gonna look? Yeah, 3 inches should be fine, by 4 7/8. So let's cut 4 7/8. By 3 inches. Yep, that should be fine. Perfect. I'm not going to keep these pieces, I'm just gonna get rid of them. Let's put this on the side. And now let's attach the transparency before we do anything else. So I'm going to use 1/8 of an inch tape to attach it. Oh, I wish I had some glasses cleaner to clean this after I glue it down. Okay, I really need to change the trimmers blades. This is my bad here. Much better. Okay. Burnish it so it glues down. Okay, so it's 1, that's number 2. Let me file a little bit. That's only because the my trimmer blade needs to be changed and I didn't do that, and now it's causing issues. Okay, let's attach this one as well. And I think we are going to stop here, and in the next video I am going to show you how to attach it to your page, because I also need to, of course, how to finish assembling it and how to attach it to your page, only because I need to decide what paper I'm going to use to mat the pages, because before applying this frame we'll need to have the page already matted, the scrapbook page already matted. And since I need to go and get some glasses cleaner in order to clean these transparency sheets before I apply them, I think it's better to stop this video here, which has become long enough in my opinion. And okay, we are good. And I'll show you in the next video how to finalize this frame, to put it together, and how to apply it to your scrapbook page to become a pop-up frame. So basically what's going to happen next, of course, I'm going to show you how to also decorate the frame. Again, this has to be done before or even after we assemble everything, but after we put it as a pop-up, because once it becomes a pop-up it's very difficult to decorate it. So this will be like this, and one picture will be in here, and I'm going to glue it down, of course, and one picture is going to be in here, and this frame will be a pop-up once when you open the page. You'll see it once it's assembled. I do have a mock-up, let me see if I can find it, but just wanted to warn you, I did not use the right heavyweight paper for the mock-up. It's very the base page is photocopier paper, and that impacts the pop-up, but I know it's going to work. Okay, so let's see, here we go. Only that when I did this time I reversed it, so the only reason why it's not coming up is because this white paper is photocopier paper and it's too thin, too soft. But using the right paper, which is cardstock, it will be something like this. So when you're going to open the page, they will stand up like this. Okay, so when I come back, we are going to finish the frame. We are going to decorate it nicely, and then glue it on our scrapbook page, which will already be matted. So while I'm offline, I am going to find the papers to decorate the frame and to also mat the page where this frame is going to sit. So see you in a little bit.